So I was a little bit off. This is video 4, and this will conclude yellow, yellow, black. The reason why I tried to keep the video under a certain period of time is because, number one, if a video is 8 minutes or 7 minutes, it's going to take you a lot longer to work on these techniques. So I don't want to put too much on one technique. It's kind of like putting too much stuff on a plate and kind of getting overwhelmed. So today on this tape, this will conclude, this will be video 4 for yellow, black, the techniques. These techniques get a little bit more trying to teach without an uke, but again, I want you to be a little inventive in your mind and think about what it is that I'm doing, and I'll do them more to like visualization, all right? But you still have to picture where the opponent will be, and I'll try to be as descriptive as I could without having a person working with me. So this is some basic self-defense. And the first technique we're going to talk about is if a person is making the approach. So a kind of, again, getting in that comfort zone. So at yellow belt, the first technique, we say that when a person makes an approach to us, that we create distance and go back into that defensive stance. And then from there, we can kick, we can punch, we can knee, and we can elbow strike. But sometimes, either we might be pinned against a wall, or we can't step back, or the person just comes up too quickly. And now we do what we call a bully approach, all right? This is where we take, as the person approaches us, kind of walking at us, we're gonna take one hand and put it on top part of their shoulder, and we're gonna take the other hand and put it on their elbow, okay? So we're gonna put one hand on the top part of their shoulder and one hand on the top part of their elbow. From here, we're gonna have the ability to twist the person, to turn the person, and then go into what we call a Haddad or a naked choke, okay? So picture this, a person can deal with linear type effects. In other words, if I push you, you're gonna push back, okay? When you twist the person, it's kind of confusing. Two things happen. One, you take them into an off-balance state, and two, they get closer to you. So if you can picture that person's in front of me, okay? And they're walking at me, I'm gonna put one hand on top of their shoulder, one hand on their elbow. I'm gonna turn them 180 degrees. As I do this, this hand's gonna come around their neck. I'm gonna grab my own hand and we're gonna choke them, okay? So again, well, let's make it a little bit more basic. That was a little bit more advanced way I showed it to you. Again, we're gonna put the hand on top of the shoulder here, and we're just gonna turn them, and we're gonna grab our own wrist, and like a nut cracker, we're just gonna squeeze it, and that carotid artery will be in there, and that could actually put a person to sleep. So we call that a bully approach, okay? We're gonna turn the person, one hand on top of the shoulder, one hand on the elbow. We're gonna turn the person and put that right around his neck, so right now his head would be facing you, and I'm just gonna choke the person out. I would end up behind the person. Now, in the same gesture, if the person put their hand on my shoulder, okay, right here, I can't see them. So the first thing when anybody ever puts their hand on your shoulder is you gotta turn and look and use your peripheral vision, okay? So in other words, when a person goes and puts their hand like on my shoulder, what I have to do is turn my body and look, okay? So let's pretend somebody came from behind me, put their hand on this shoulder. I want to turn and look because I want to verify that their hand is not across. In other words, if they did this and I turned and look, I don't want to go that way. I want to look and see the hand is like this on the back part of my shoulder. So if I turn, I don't want to ever walk into the free hand. You follow what I mean by that? If the person does a cross grab to me from the back, I wouldn't know that unless I turned and looked. And now when I turn, I could be turning into that free hand. So the first thing you do when a person puts their hands on your shoulders is you look. Is it a cross? Is it a straight? And you want to turn away from the free hand. So to make it simple for now, the person's grabbing us like this. So if you were here, the person's grabbing us like this, but they're behind us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our hand up, straight up. Can you see that? We're going to put our hand straight up, and we're going to turn, and look what we got. We got the same technique that we did. We're going to turn and put that bully approach on the person. So it's the same technique, but it's from the back, okay? So as the person grabs me here, I'm going to bring my hand up, I'm going to turn, and look, I'm in the same position I was in before. I'm going to turn this person and just choke this person right out. And there's your bully approach from the front and from the back. A couple more techniques that I'm going to cover is going back to those nerve centers, okay? Well, somewhat like the nerve centers, where the person grabs you with a two-hand lapel grab. And that's a very scary thing when a person grabs you with a two-hand lapel grab. But the one thing you got to remember, when a person grabs you with a two-hand lapel grab, like they're grabbing you, we know exactly where the hands are. People freak out when you get grabbed, okay? But there's two things you got to realize with the grab. One, when a person grabs you, it can be very tough to get out of because you're very strong when you grab somebody. Think about if you were to hold a suitcase. If you were to hold a suitcase and you tried to pick it up, it'd be very hard. But when you grab that handle, you have a lot more strength. So when a person grabs your lapel, they can have a lot of strength. Even if it's not physical strength, they have hold-on strength. So there's two concepts here. One is when the person grabs us and they're really angry with us, we kind of smell their breath, they're kind of almost spitting in their face, and we don't want anybody spitting in our face now, that's for sure. And then there's that person who kind of grabs us and think they're trying to be a silly person, and we don't want to really do severe damage to them. So we're going to show you both sides of the coin. One if the person grabs you really nasty, and one if the person doesn't grab you that nasty, okay? So let's talk about the first one, where they kind of grab us, but they're not really an arch enemy. They're not really nasty, okay? So when they grab us, if they grab us in that kind of casual grab, believe it or not, their thumbs are going to be very exposed. If their thumbs aren't exposed, we wouldn't do this technique. Some people always ask me, well, OSensei, what if the person grabs you and the thumbs aren't available? Then you wouldn't do this technique, okay? We always have a technique that follows this that you will be able to do, okay? And you have to be feeling confident about yourself to be able to pull this technique off, because you are going to inflict pain, but not necessarily inflict damage. If you never had this done to you, be more than welcome to come down to the dojo when we can touch each other, and I'll do it to you and you'll be a believer too. So what's happening here is the person goes and grabs us with two-hand lapel grabs, but the thumbs are right there, they're available. You see that? And all we're gonna do with the thumb is we're gonna press it like this, just like this. And that's what you need to do. You need to take your own thumb, you need to grab it and just squeeze it. So put one finger here, and squeeze it. Oh my goodness, pain. Again, if you say, well, that wouldn't be enough pain to take somebody out, this is not a take me out technique. This is a technique that we use to subdue a person, or a person, hey, I heard you take some jiu-jitsu. They're being a little bit of a wise guy, and we're gonna say, don't do that, don't put your hands on me. I don't allow people to put their hands on me unless I invite them to do that, okay? Now, let's talk about the more extreme, where the person grabs us and there's no way the thumbs are even available, and also our heart starts pumping because we're really intimidated by this. So what's gonna happen now is when they grab us like so, now, what do you think a person's gonna do when they grab you? They're gonna pull you in, or they're gonna push you away? We'll deal with pushing away later on, but the general gist is the person looks to pull you in. It's kind of a defense that we have. It's kind of a mechanism. When we were kids and somebody tried to take out toys, we said, give me those back. That's kind of an instinctive reaction. There is the one where they push you, but we're not working on that one right now. We're talking about them pulling us in, which is the more natural thing to do. But this one's intimidating because they're coming at us hard, all right? So as they pull us in, again, remember something, that even though we might be intimidated or scared, they can't hurt us because both of their hands are occupied. If I just headbutt the person, they can't do anything because their hands are occupied. And people get very intimidated by this. I'm not going to teach you headbutt right now, but I do love that, okay? I'm going to teach you what's more acceptable and goes along with the theme of what we've been teaching, okay? So as that person grabs in, all we're going to do is palm blow right to the person's face. We're going to grab the back of the head and then roundhouse elbow strike. You might never get to the roundhouse elbow strike, by the way, but this is when you feel that you're intimidated, your life might be threatened, the finger technique's not going to be good enough. Nobody should be putting their hands on you to begin with. These are combative techniques that they're gonna work. They're very effective because they're not complicated. So again, the person grabs me, there's no fingers to grab, we don't feel like we have that level of confidence yet, we're intimidated, we're scared. We're gonna simply take that palm blow, drive it right to the person's face. With the other hand, we're gonna grab the back of the head if he's still there, and bang, we're gonna hit him off with a roundhouse elbow strike, and then you're gonna be done, then you can go home and have a great day. So, we've talked about today the person coming at us and us turning the person, twisting the person's body. We end up behind the person, and we choked them out with what we call a Haddad Jimmy, or a naked choke. We talked about if the person is behind us, putting their hand here, straight for now, not cross, we were going to come up and we do the same thing. We turn the person and choke the person. And then we talked about the two lapel techniques. The first one is where they grab us and we feel pretty good about it, and we don't feel like we have to severely hurt them. We're going to take those thumbs and we're going to pinch those thumbs together. You see that? Pinch those thumbs together, all right, and inflict some damage, or pain rather, but not necessarily damage. And then the one that really spooks us a little bit and intimidates us a little bit more, with the thumbs are not available, the guy is much more aggressive, and we feel we have to take this person out. So what we want to do is we want to step forward with that right leg. In this case, we want to palm strike, because they're pulling us in anyway. We want to palm strike right to the person's face. If they're still standing, we're going to grab the back of the head and bang, finish them off with a roundhouse elbow strike. This concludes the yellow-black. Every day, we'll be posting up on our group page on Facebook, which is American Jiu-Jitsu LI. Also, these will be put up on our YouTube channel, which again is American Jiu-Jitsu LI. And what I need you to do is like and subscribe. Once we get 1,000 viewers, so 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we can then live broadcast, which we are dealing with live broadcasting right now with Zoom and different ways of doing it. But first I wanted to develop a library, so at your leisure you can go and watch these tapes whenever you want. Every day they will be posted on Facebook, so wake up. Parents, always view what it is that I'm broadcasting, so you can see what your kids are going to be learning. I don't want them to be practicing on brothers and sisters. And then very soon the studio will reopen up and we'll have a better place, more technology, being able to do these videos and live casting, so people who can't make their belt promotionals, dads sometimes have to work, moms sometimes have to work, grandparents can't get here, you'll be able to watch these things on live broadcasting right from the dojo. Everything's going to get better real soon. You got to be positive, you got to be confident, and you got to keep on working it and doing something. Remember something, don't get lazy. Get smarter, get stronger, figure it out. The same way I'm figuring out, you need to figure it out. 3 things I always tell you. Stay at home right now. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much for viewing. Yellow, yellow, black. Next, orange belt. Have a great day. Us.